I'm not sure why she's so nervous to say what she means. What do you mean?
No. I am saying exactly what I mean.
I'm unclear, Chair, what is meant by the question. If she could spell it out, I can answer.
I've just spelt it out.
Susan Hall of the Conservative Party has called out Sadiq Khan over the increasingly serious grooming gang scandal unfolding in London. And frankly, he looked every bit the slippery politician. Sweating, evasive and visibly flustered, like someone caught red-handed. If Khan thinks he can sweep this under the rug, he's clearly mistaken.
Just how many grooming gangs have we got in London?
So the situation in London in relation to young people being groomed is different to the parts of the country. So what we have in London is young people being groomed, use your words, not mine, to be using county lines. In relation to sometimes...
OK, let me make it clear. Sorry, I wasn't clear enough. I was told I shouldn't be saying rape gangs. They are rape gangs. I'm talking about rape gangs. I'm not talking about country lines. But to go back, nobody likes me saying rape gangs, although they are rape gangs. Grooming gangs that I would call rape gangs. Tell me about them. How many of those have we got? Not country lines, those particular groups.
Susan Hall didn't mince words. She went straight for the jugular. No sugarcoating. No excuses left for Khan to hide behind. How on earth could the Mayor of London need someone else to tell him what's happening right in the middle of his own city? It's absurd. Unbelievable, even, that he claims he didn't know about the horrific crimes taking place right under his nose. The grooming gangs aren't lurking in the shadows anymore. They're out in the open. And they are a disgrace to this country. And now, the entire nation is watching.
In recent years, we've spoken to alleged victims of grooming across the country. In 2020, this woman in Yorkshire told us how her abuse had continued from childhood into adulthood.
They raped me first, and then they said to me, stop speaking to the police, don't speak to the police, why are you doing that?
In Hull, our investigation into several victims of a predominantly Asian grooming gang led to Humberside Police reopening the investigation.
That room, that flat, took my childhood from me. I think I was raped by around 150 men over the 3-year period.
Women and girls across the UK are being targeted in broad daylight as grooming gangs operate with shocking boldness. London has become one of the worst hotspots in this growing crisis. And where is Sadiq Khan? Hiding behind silence, like a coward, pretending nothing is happening. Brace yourself, the truth is hard to hear. The city is spiraling into chaos, and the mayor stands by, arms folded, doing nothing.
To avoid any misunderstanding, can she define what she means by that?
Yes, if you look at what's gone on in Rotherham, where there are people taking young girls, grooming them for sex, that is what I'm talking about.
We know in London there are issues about exploitation of young people, but they're not as defined by the member in her definition of what those types of gangs are.
So are you saying we haven't got the same sort of gangs that are in Rotherham, Bradford and lots of other places in the country?
Just for your misunderstanding, what does she mean by that?
You know full well what I mean by that. It's all over the television. You know exactly what I mean by that.
Sadiq is playing the same old game, again stirring things up just so he can scream about instead of actually dealing with the violence on our streets. But let's be honest, he knows exactly what's going on. Whole world can see I become a fertile ground for criminals, and under his leadership, it's only got worse. Women are being attacked in broad daylight, and the police say no Maurice, nothing short of shameful.
After you were abused by a gang, so many members on one day, what happened to you when you sought support from the police?
The police did a referral to St Mary's Rape Crisis Centre, who after a couple of days finally managed to fit me in. From there they did examinations, took photographs of all the bruising and trauma that I had received. And from that I received the emergency contraceptive pill. At the time when I was at the appointment, I didn't feel comfortable taking it, so I did request to take it home and just have some time to take it all in. It wasn't that I was not going to take it, it was just I needed to come to the conclusion and acceptance myself.
What did they do instead of arresting the actual criminals? They barged into the victim's home and tried to force her to take contraceptive pills without even asking for her consent. It's almost impossible to believe. This isn't justice, it's insanity. Like stepping straight into a dystopian nightmare.
Then you got home, but there was an incident with a police officer about that pill quite soon after.
Yeah, I put the pill in my room and then I went out. The following day when I came home from being with friends, there was an officer sat in my mum's living room and my parents were in the kitchen, and he was quite vocally aggressive, telling me how important it was to take it. He had already gone through my room and found it and produced it in the living room to me. He popped it out the box and tried and passed it to me to take. I refused and said, I'm not ready, and walked off to go upstairs. He followed me into the hallway and he grabbed my arm and then grabbed my face and pushed it into my mouth to swallow and said, it's for your own good.
Sound familiar? That's because it is. Sadiq Khan and his team have pulled out the same old failed playbook used by Greater Manchester Police, and they're following it to the letter. It's a complete disaster. The Rochdale abuse scandal exposed not only horrific crimes, but shocking police failures. Vulnerable girls were let down by officers who saw them more as troublesome teens than as victims of child sexual exploitation. Some never even got their day in court. But that's exactly what authorities chose to ignore. Eventually, the pressure mounted so high that the then chief constable had no choice but to crawl out and mumble a half-hearted apology to the victims. His downfall was nothing short of humiliating. Funny how history keeps repeating itself, isn't it?
As is entirely fitting, this report does not pull its punches. The findings evidenced within it are shocking, stark, and shameful. It speaks to the systemic failure of various agencies to pull together and do the obvious and the right thing. And above all, it outlines in painful detail all of those missed opportunities where decisive action could and should have been taken to prevent, disrupt, and prosecute the scourge of what has been evidenced to have been the widespread abuse of children in Rochdale.
And here we are again, watching the same tired scene play out. The Labour Party, once more, shamelessly performing the same act. The only difference this time, Sadiq Khan is front and centre, taking the heat as the fallout unfolds right here in London. But it doesn't end there. When questioned during a recent Q&A session, Khan delivered such an over-the-top display of feigned ignorance that the entire room was left in disbelief.
These gangs of people that are grooming young girls for sex, do we actually have those in London?
Today we need to give a full answer. Can she be clear what she means by that? I'm not clear what she means.
How much clearer do you want me to be? Look at the gangs that they've uncovered in other parts of the country. Do we have those gangs in London? It's a simple question. The answer is very simple. It's yes or no. I'm not asking you where those gangs are because the police might not want them to be disclosed. I'm asking you, do we have those sort of gangs in London?
I'm not sure why she's so nervous to say what she means. What do you mean?
No. I am saying exactly what I mean. I'm saying, have we got any of those grooming gangs in London?
I'm unclear, Chair, what is meant by the question. If she could spell it out, I can answer.
I've just spelt it out. Are you not listening? It's the sort of gangs that groom young girls at a young age for sex. Exactly how much clearer do you want me to be?
Unbelievable. Is this really the man we're supposed to call mayor? If he can't answer a simple question, or worse, if he's deliberately dodging it, then he has no business leading one of the UK's most iconic cities. Let's not forget, this is the same man who publicly admitted that London is overwhelmed by crime on his watch, and even confessed he wouldn't want to live there himself. If that's not a clear admission of failure, then what is?
That he doesn't feel safe in London. Yeah, let that sink in. He's got bodyguards, armoured car, 24-hour security. He's in charge of the Met Police, and he doesn't feel safe. How does he think the 10 million people that live in London feel under his leadership? This man needs booting out of office for the sake of London.
Just think about it. You put your trust in someone to protect your city, only for them to turn around and admit it's become a sanctuary for criminals. And yet, defying all logic and common sense, Sadiq Khan wins a third term, 3 times now, soaked in the blood and violence that grips the capital. London once the jewel of Britain, is now stuck in a never-ending nightmare, handed over to predators as if served on a silver platter. It's a disaster beyond belief.
Issues in London with young girls being groomed for county lines. Some of those girls are used for sex, and that's one of the reasons why I've set up things like the Lighthouse, funded by City Hall, why we've set up 4 hubs that help survivors of child sexual abuse, why we're investing in London's Violence and Exploitation Support Service, why I commissioned the HMI to look into the issue of child exploitation, why the Met Police Service now employs 1,200 child protection officers, why we have Operations Interior, first begun in London, while we're the only police force that began the V100, targeting the 100 most violent
I just
young
asked
people.
a yes-no question. So approximately how many of these gangs that I am talking about, that I do not know why you don't understand the sort of gangs I'm talking about, exactly, or approximately I should say, to give you leeway, approximately how many of those gangs have we got in London? Because the public is very, very rightfully concerned about this and concerned about these young women.
Once again, Sadiq Khan has province no different from the rest of the Labour Party. Same tired scripter group of self-important elites in Downing Street, completely disconnected from the real world, convinced they can't be touched. But here's the reality. The public isn't as naive as they think. News spreads fast and people are quickly running out of patience with this never-ending political farce.
If you look at the decline of London under his leadership, directly as a consequence, there's a lot of the political stuff you can argue. You can look at blame Tories. You could argue it's been something that's gone on for years and something that's been brewing, something that's not been addressed. And there's definitely a reality to that in terms of the UK general growth decline. It's not something that's happened overnight, although Sakira seems really want to make it even as bad as possible, as soon as possible. But I think with Sadiq Khan, there is a clear correlation between when Sadiq Khan became the mayor of London and London's decline. Its decline in safety, its decline in as an economic superpower. The longer this man stays in power of London, the more the worse the city gets.
At long last, people are finally seeing through Labour's games. They bury scandals, hoping the public won't notice. But Sadiq dodges questions, like a crook trying to slip past the law.
Well, I'm still none the wiser why she's so nervous about saying what she means. But in London, we have V100, which are the 100 most prolific, dangerous people the police target. That number goes up and down. So one month the V100 may be 120 people, or one month there may be 80 people, and each BCU has a localized V number. So when I was in Croydon a few weeks ago, the V number wasn't 100, it was a bit below. But as they reminded me, people can sometimes go in that list or out that list.
Thank you. Chairman, I was very clear in what I was talking about. I just don't understand what it is that the Mayor wants me to say that's any different. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Sadiq Khan is under intense fire from Conservative MP Susan Hall for avoiding serious questions about the rising spread of grooming gangs across London, and for responding with cold indifference and complete detachment. Honestly, if that doesn't show we're headed for yet another disastrous term under his leadership, what will? What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.